Hello everybody, my name is Yesi. Today I am out in this beautiful parking garage overlooking the city of Bryan, College Station, Texas A&M University, the campus. I'm hanging out, living the dream. Today I was working a lot. I've been working maybe 7 hours today. 7 hours exactly, actually. I arrived 9:50 and left 4:50 on the dot. So I had a pretty good time. How I spent my work, besides working of course, I continued reading Ernest Hemingway's The Sun Also Rises. Lately I've been having some summer class problems. I failed my math class, my math 2 class, calculus 2, and kind of accepting that failure was really hard at first. Initially I couldn't feel it, right? I didn't understand. There's a train passing by. I don't know if the camera or the mic is gonna pick it up, but at first when I failed the class, I got a D in it. I think I got 66 out of 67. 67 was a passing rate. And even though after emailing my teacher, no response, it's just like, okay, well, I guess I have this score now. So after receiving that final grade, it really didn't affect me for like the first couple of days, right? I told my parents, and then it suddenly just became more real. Right, it was kind of just beginning of last week. I was like, yo, mom, dad, this is the score I got on my math. I failed it, which means that I won't be able to kind of go into the major that I want to yet. I have to wait another semester, whereas my friends, they get to go into their major like now. And they weren't too happy, but they weren't too disappointed with it either. Right? Thankfully, my amazing, loving parents, who I'm very grateful for. My mother, she was rightfully angry at me, right? She said, "Oh, why'd you?" Sorry, there's just guys over there. My mom, she was rightfully mad at me. She, yelled at me in the car. I told her, and I always tell her things first. Just running it by her feels good. I feel like I'm much closer with my mother. But I told my dad this as well, right? And thankfully, he took things very nicely. Yeah, he took things a lot easier than I expected them to be. He didn't get mad at me. He didn't yell at me. He was just like, all right, what's the next step? And I'm really grateful for that, I want to say. But yeah, that was something that I was thinking about today, something I had to deal with in terms of signing up for online classes. Tuition here is insane, okay? It's like $2,000 just for one class for the summer, which I thought was absolutely exorbitant. So I have a couple options, right? I can either take it at community college, which I don't think there are any classes left for, and I'm kind of stuck here for the time being. And I'll explain why maybe in a later video. But I don't really have any option for in-person community college. If I wanted to attend at the university here, it would be over $2,000, which I'm not paying. So I'm not doing that. So the two options are, hopefully I can find something community college based, or I just take it next semester and call it a day, right? That's really the only things I have. It's a beautiful night sky today. I really wanted to capture the dusk sitting out in the garden, but this is what I get. This is what was my plan B. I guess on the topic of plan Bs, yeah, when you make a plan B, you really don't make a plan A at all. It was, I think plan Bs are just an excuse And I'm kind of trying to take accountability for what I just said there, right? I wanted to sit out in the garden today, and I'll probably, hopefully, sit out tomorrow. But today's this beautiful night sky. So yeah, let's see. Today's day. I, went to the gym, tried to begin my workout, and then my I guess I got a there was a fee applied to my tuition balance, and I received an email because of that. So of course, seeing this upon my account, I immediately checked and then forwarded the email to my father, because he and I both manage my finances. We looked over it, right, and he was like, okay, this is way too expensive. Talk to your academic advisor. And I was like, okay, I'll talk to my academic advisor about this. I did. They told me, like, these are my options, whatever have you. And because I read that email and because I had to email my advisor, I couldn't finish my workout today, and I feel kind of bad about that. Something good that did happen, though, is I have a friend. He is a Soviet graduate student. He and I were both in the Aggie boxing club together. And I say were because the semester ended, and that means that the club is disbanded until next semester in the fall, or rather, we're not meeting till the fall. And yeah. But I texted him like maybe 3 or 4 days ago, and he finally was able to reach back. And he said, and I asked him, hey, would you be down to train me for the upcoming Golden Gloves competition that's coming up in October? And he was like, yes, of course, dude. One small stipulation, it's always money. He wanted to do at Crunch Fitness, which has a $75 pre-enrollment fee, plus a $10 fee for every month. And I'm only gonna be here for maybe 2 months. I'm gonna be here till the end of May and then end of June, and I'm going back home for like a month. So there was and I have a gym here with a box, with like a heavy bag. So there was no reason for me to sign on to that. And so I kind of relayed this information to him, and he was like, yo, day after tomorrow, let's start working out at your gym, 7 a.m. sharp. And I was like, bet. So he was very kind, understanding. He is my Soviet brother. I say Soviet, he is from Uzbekistan, post-Soviet country, and he keeps talking about his time there, and he's really cool. I really would like to include him in a video one day, if he was willing to. On to the next point, though. After that whole fiasco, I made breakfast, a little 3 whole boiled eggs, and a bowl of yogurt. I should really take more videos, more photos of things. I wish I could show that on screen or something, but yeah. You just have to use your imagination on that. After that, I chilled for a little bit, went to work. Again, I was listening to the audiobook of Ernest Hemingway's The Sun Also Rises. I finished from chapter 9 all the way to chapter 16. There's only 3 more chapters left to go. 17, 18, 19, yep, 3 more chapters. And I'm really excited to finish it. So far, it was a really, really boring book. I feel like I didn't get anything out of it. I think this book I'm really unsatisfied with, I'd say. It's a beautiful windy night. The air is just like, it's breezy, which is nice. And the summer heat of the night, it also feels really nice and warm too. So this is like perfect weather for me. I like it hotter, personally. After work, I decided I was gonna go home, right? So I went home, and I use my friend Joe's scooter right now. He's a really cool guy. He lent me his scooter for the summer, and then my other friend wants to use it because he's also coming back for his research job, and like he needs it more. He has more physical condition to where it's actually like not 100%. He's not like 100% physicality right now. that's just like his own thing to explain at some point. And I would like to get my friends on these videos, Joe and my other friend. But yeah, so far that's what's been going on. Let's see, I came home, I scootered home, I immediately started hitting the boxing bag, right? I put my clothes in the laundry, I did my laundry, I started making dinner by pulling out the chicken to let it thaw, and went right to the bag room to do some boxing, 8 rounds, got it in there. I was really happy. That was some of the most focused I've been, and I feel amazing regarding like my shoulder health and my physical capabilities so far. I was able to go all 8 rounds with no like rest round in between, which felt really good. I was able to just keep pushing, and that felt nice. Afterwards, I finished making dinner, kind of watched some YouTube videos, chilled out, and now I'm recording this. That was my day so far. I wanted to come on camera today, though. I felt really compelled to talk about books. Why am I talking about books right now? I'm talking about books right now because on my previous topic, Ernest Hemingway's The Sun Also Rises. I'm almost finished with the thing. It's really boring. It's so boring. I enjoy having like the thought that like a book can change or impact my life, right? Up until maybe sophomore year of high school, I used to read a lot. My elementaries and middle school had the AR program, or rather AR points for books. If you don't know what that is, if you're not familiar with it, AR points is essentially there's a team of people or some algorithm that they use to assign points to books, to say that thicker, like larger and more complex books would have a higher number of points, and it'd be for different grade levels, so they have designations for grade levels, right? So of course lower grade levels would have, or grade levels that are expected to read at lower levels would have certain type of books. The ones at higher grade levels would have certain type of books, and it'd run off that system. I really hope the mic is like not picking up all this wind and surround sound, but it's whatever. If it does, I know that for a fact that I absolutely love the AR system. I spam the hell out of Harry Potter books. Harry Potter books are my thing. Alright, a little bit of Wings of Fire for some reason, and another reason it's because it was always checked out, and it was also really popular. The Wings of Fire series, the first book of that series, never, ever was in the public library or in the school library. All the kids wanted it. So I had to find it online, I had to read it like that, and that was like my first case of, I guess, piracy, you could say. Even though I didn't pirate it, allegedly, of course, allegedly. I just kind of found the PDF online and read it like that. And that felt really good, to be honest. But up until past my freshman year of high school, freshman year of high school, we were reading our assigned books, and I still wanted to perform well at an academic level. So I did read the books that were assigned to me. The first one was The Glass Castle. No, first one was a book called Drive, and it was about intrinsic motivation to kind of induce a growth mindset within the students early on for the course load of that high school that I was in. And I've transferred high schools 4 times, so I kind of know my thing. I've transferred 3 times. I've been to 4 schools. Yeah. So upon finishing Drive, we moved on to The Glass Castle. After reading The Glass Castle, I stopped reading almost entirely. Sophomore year, I had a teacher, an English teacher, who was the very stereotypical English teacher, right? Like, has all like the live, laugh, love signs, the old scholarly stuff on there. Scholastic stuff on there, that's what I wanted to say. And she got pregnant halfway throughout the semester, and it was like the whole thing, right? I said some very hurtful memes at that hurtful things at that time, mean things to her about her pregnancy, and she of course asked me to stay after to say, hey, I would like for you to practice more empathy. And I understood the mistake that I made. I was like, I'm really sorry for what I said. I still kind of think about it. I still think about it to this day. I feel really bad for what I said. And I don't understand her situation, and I didn't understand her situation back then. But yeah, I just don't feel good about it anymore. And I think that's gonna be one of those things that I just have to live with and die with. And I'm okay with that. Not okay with what I did, but yeah, you know what I mean. Moving on, sophomore year, again, didn't read. I didn't like my English teacher, and I just kind of fell out of reading. I wanted to be the cool kid, so I joined the football team, and I started working out. This was my first introduction to like the gym and weights. It was my first introduction to being more athletic than just track and field, and just like running and like cross country and stuff. It felt nice. It was really good. I had a sense of community because of that. But I lost my love and interest for books. Except for one book, The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. I watched the movie for it first, and I was like, yo, this movie is really cool. There's a character named Borat. Or not Borat. Boraz, maybe? Something like that. Again, all the way back then. He was a character in Stranger Things as well, which my parents all watched at the time. And I was like, oh my god, that's a similarity right there. And I thought that was really cool. Yeah. I got back into reading a little bit junior year. My English class at the time, I had a teacher. Her name is Mrs. Ferrer. She is the GOAT. She is the greatest of all time, like, English teacher ever. Dude, she was so kind. I was in an on-level class, which means I didn't take honors or anything. I was done with English after sophomore year. I was like, okay, I don't want to do anything English related anymore. I was like, this is kind of stupid. And the grades based off this doesn't value creativity. It only values kind of how you like writing in a very formulaic way, which I really did not appreciate. But Mrs. Ferrer was nice. She was very kind to me. At the time, I was naturally smart, and I didn't have to study in high school at all for most of my classes, except for like physics. But Mrs. Ferrer's class was way easy because it was just small worksheets that we had to do. And if you use Spark Notes or Cliff Notes or Britannica.org, those who know, Britannica.org, the book, then you would understand every single concept in that book for the exam or for the quiz or test or what have you. I think I opted to take her final. We had a certain grade level or grade average that we could opt out like 3 finals for my junior year. And I opted out of everybody's but Mrs. Ferrer's. And I believe my calculus teacher, because we already technically passed our final project exam thingy. But Mrs. Ferrer's class, I took it. I got a 92 on it, and I didn't study it one bit for it. So that kind of shows you. Sorry, there was a guy yelling in the back. That kind of shows you what that type of teacher was. She was amazing. But yeah, I had lost my love and interest for books for quite some time until Mrs. Ferrer kind of sparked that interest back in me. She was an absolute fanatic over Edgar Allan Poe, specifically his poetry. She absolutely loved poetry at the time, and at the time she also had us read Walden. If you don't know, Walden is about a man who discovers that he enjoys life in nature and in the woods more than everyday modern life in the city environment, right? And I had similar feelings and similar emotions to that. Later on in life, I do hope to settle down in a more rural part of the area, if not covered by forestry, a lake and a mountain view and everything. That would be ideal for me. A log cabin, like the one that Tony Stark had in Endgame, or in Infinity War, whatever it was. I don't like Marvel. But I read that, and I saw her passion for poetry, and I was like, wait, I kind of want to get back into this. Like, she clearly sees that I'm too smart for the class, and she continually asked me, you should have taken the AP version, you should have taken honors at least. And I said, I want to have it easy for English, I prefer it that way. She's like, alright. I also took regular English 4th year, my senior year of high school. That was a mistake. I kind of hated my English teacher for 4th year. He did teach us how to use active voice, and he continually pushed that, using action verbs rather than passive phrases, which did influence my writing and make it better and overall, like, academic and in storytelling situations, right? Which is really nice. I think I want to implement his techniques into my daily speech soon, or in recording. I think I just had this thought now. But yeah, I didn't like him. He had a very no cell phones policy. He was very strict, and he was also like 2 years from his retirement, so I doubt he cared anymore. I didn't really care for his class, but I got the work done early. You could read it with what he said. He didn't like drawing, and he didn't like phones in his class. Obviously, I wanted to spend my time. I would get work done early, and I was a lot more of a go-getter back then. Again, I didn't have to study much for high school. The situation now is completely different. I have to study for every single class, and I don't know how to study. I've never built up those study habits. I'm exactly like those high school, college burnout type of guys. I learned this year on the account that I failed my math and first semester, the semester before my chemistry lab, which is just stupid because this semester I had to take it at 8 a.m. almost every other week on a Wednesday, and you were required to have lab goggles that, again, it's every other week on a Wednesday. Who the hell remembers that sort of thing? Somehow I passed this semester with like a 60. I don't know how they passed me, but yeah. I'm not complaining. But senior year, since we were given the option to read, I was like, you know what? I'm really getting into art. So like senior year, I took Art 1 because I needed a fine arts credit, and I was like, okay, I've been saving up for my senior year for this. I might as well just get it done with now and just kind of have something that's out of the way, something that I can kind of chill out in that class. And that's exactly what I did. I had an amazing go-to teacher, Miss Rashid. She is, maybe I can put her picture up with me for graduation. I had longer hair back then. If I want to do that post-editing, I don't care. But she was amazing. She sparked my interest in art. I remember in elementary and middle school, I did participate in a lot of art things, but I never thought it was for me. Not because I wasn't good. I was really good at tracing and copying down without physically laying the paper on top of the thing. And I had a creative aspect to me, but I guess it was just a little too edgy at the time. That's what it was. I was really edgy. I was an edgelord as a kid. So that's what happened. Now I'm really into art, and I do want to express my art, and this is kind of one of the forms that I want to portray it, I guess, present it. Presenting in front of a camera is something that I want to get better at, something I want to get better at, something I'm trying to get better at. I know for a fact that I'm saying a lot less ums, likes, and kindas because I made it a point after editing yesterday's video to not do that. Mr. Sheet was very helpful in that, like, sparking my art interest, as well as another teacher, Mr. Avenger. He was the art history teacher and like the AP art teacher, right? So more advanced art classes. But I never actually took his course. I just hung out in his class for lunch with some of my friends that were all in his class. They like knew him, right? And I just hung out with them, and they kind of had very similar like brainial understandings. Like they were also neurodivergent, and they claimed that neurodivergence with pride, and I was kind of jealous. They had very similar ways in how their brain worked, and I never really understood that because I guess I was just around people that were more neurotypical, right? This is like the first time that I actually like noticed that, yo, these guys have shared experiences with me. We all kind of are interested in the same things for the similar reasons, rather than like the details of things, rather than the overall outcome of them, if that makes sense. I might try to articulate that later on. I'm gonna stand here a little bit so that I can. I had my legs like that, just boxer stance. I'm gonna cut that out the video. Mr. Sheed and Mr. Avenger both sparked an interest in my art career. Not career, it's just an art interest right now, and I want to continually. I want to make it. I don't want to make it an interest until it becomes an interest. I don't want to make it a career until it becomes something beyond just an interest. If that makes sense. Anyways, they inspired me to try to get more art analysis books. And one of the books I saw was The Object Stares Back. I don't remember who it's by anymore. I remember at some point somebody had taken the book and never given it back. It wasn't checked out or anything. They just took it and it's gone forever from the school library, and I kind of hate that because I was going to do that same thing. No, I wasn't. That's allegedly. But I checked it out. I read like halfway through it for spring break, and I really wish that I renewed it. But it was talking about how whenever you perceive an object, that object perceives you in a way that you assign meaning to that object, and then that object in itself becomes something more than what it like already is. You know, for example, this light pole, it was just kind of there. It was there and it had no meaning, no purpose until I assigned it a characteristic of, or assigned it the category of light pole, something that bestows light. And that's really cool. That sort of understanding that whatever you draw or make or photograph or film, you assign meaning to it beyond what it actually just is. And that's very interesting. That's really cool. That was a book I read for my senior year English teacher's class. And then first semester freshman year, and also kind of that summer after senior year, after graduating, first semester freshman year, I did not read whatsoever. I actually gave up reading almost entirely in favor of playing more video games, focusing on school, right, and kind of socializing more, and which makes sense, right? I was always encouraged to go out, have friends, but this is also the semester that I deleted Instagram. It was also the semester I deleted TikTok. The last semester, I kind of did those things, and now, maybe 7 or 8 months down the line, it's finally like changed my perspective on things, on how I perceive the world. It took me a long time, and I didn't think about it in the way that I'm kind of talking about it now. And I guess nobody can really talk about their experiences in that way, because they don't think about that experience until after the fact for it to actually be effective. That's how it is for me. If I don't think about it and just kind of let it go through me as like a natural thing that I want to do, then and only then do I feel like I actually have accomplished something. And I know for a fact that I'm never gonna re-download any of those types of social media apps again, specifically because of the way I've grown and because of the way I've changed. And I don't want to go back to the way that I was. Even with deleting Pinterest, deleting YouTube off my phone, it has completely like drained all the intensity and dopamine that I usually receive on a day-to-day basis. And it's forced me to try to think of more creative ways, creative outlets to kind of get that same feeling. One of those ways is through filming. I don't know how long I've been talking for. Hopefully my computer is going to process all of this in a timely manner. If not, oh well. But yeah, I stopped reading for those times. Now I started getting back into reading. This semester, I had a book. My cousin in India, he told me that I should take it. When I was visiting in like 2024, I got a bunch of books from my cousins. They were like, you need to read all these because they're really good fiction books. And I was like, sure. My dad was trying to help make me get self-help books because he was like, I want you to become the most efficient, most like outcome-oriented person you know, right? And I was like, okay, cool. I don't mess with that, but you can say whatever you want, I guess. I did that. I grabbed all those books. They were all in my bag. It was like 8 books in my bag. It increased the weight a lot, and my dad was like, oh, just get rid of those fiction books. You know, you don't need them. And I was like, no, I'm gonna keep them there. They're mine now and forever. And I like owning things. I don't like the concept of having to rent out a license, which is exactly what you do with like a Netflix subscription or like Spotify and stuff. It's like you rent a license to use the product for like without advertisements being plastered on your face. And I think that's a terrible business model. It's like zero trust within the ecosystem of its customers, and it only provides value for the shareholders of the company, not even like the company itself. The company suffers for this, for profit, in the name of profit and market growth. That's a different topic for a different time. I might talk about that later, who knows. But I've grown since then because I read. Because I read The Alchemist. Again, I don't remember the author. I'm really bad with authors, and I did not research anything for this video. Oh god, what the hell is that? Some firefly or something. Anywho, read The Alchemist halfway. I read 100 pages of that book out of 160, so I'm almost finished. I definitely know that once I finish, The Sun Also Rises, I'm gonna go back to The Alchemist and finish that. Very close, and I know for tomorrow that that's exactly what my goal is during work hours. I don't know, everything's starting up kind of next week for me. Right now, everything is chill. Work has started up this week. I'm slowly getting into a routine, right? Day after tomorrow, I get to work out with my friend, and he's gonna train me, and he's gonna make me a champion, and I know that, and I'm really excited. But reading The Alchemist, I kind of figured out how the universe helps you in a certain type of way, in like a very spiritual way. The book is a very spiritual book in terms of it uses simple language to convey deep and complex topics of fundamental laws of understanding and reasoning, and it kind of derives those out of the natural world around us and within ourselves. It never promotes meditation or journaling or any of the other shit that self-help books have, or what you'll see on YouTube or on TikTok with all these self-help gurus. It just promotes a oneness with the universe and allowing that, like, I guess, it to wash over you. That's a very interesting concept to me. I really do wish I kept going with the book, but I haven't given up yet. So I'm really excited for that. back to The Sun Also Rises. It is boring. It is so boring. Are you kidding me? It is like one of the most boring books I've ever read. I just really don't like it. I think I was expecting something out of it. I was expecting to be amazed, be bewildered by this amazing author, Ernest Hemingway, right? This renowned, best-selling book author. This is technically his first novel, and so I understand that, like, after researching him a little bit more. And I didn't realize this when I was actually like starting to read the book. But he's supposed to be this amazing writer, and the way he describes scenery, the way he describes a situation, and like the flow of a conversation is just amazing, right? These daily interactions between people, between their environment, like, it's amazing. It's beautiful. It's genuinely beautiful, right? It's a work that in itself is a work of art. But the situations themselves are boring. It's literally just the characters going from one cafe to a bar to a cafe to a bar in Paris, and then switching scenery to Spain, where they experience all these different people, but they like barbaric. They treat them as if they're barbarians in a way. I know that they call them like one of the lines is peasants. They are on the same bus as a group of peasants, and those peasants, and they offer their very fancy wine to them, and they of course drink all until, right? And then the peasants offer their wine to them, to the travelers, Jake, Barnes, and Bill, his friend Bill, who's a racist, like insane racist. It's really funny. He says the N-word like 15 times in the 8th chapter. Just talking about like his first story ever. So you get a really good feeling about that character immediately. Did you know one of my friends can't snap? That's like she can't do that. She's working on it though, and she's doing a great job. And hopefully, if she does see this video, she's gonna know she's in it. But yeah, the characters themselves are interesting, and it does get really it gets juicier once they do go to Spain. The characters do go to Spain. But they call them peasants. Like the travelers, Jake and Bill, call the peasants in the book, and it's and it's like the interactions between all of them is very disconnected. And I guess that would be reflective of how it was in the 1920s when they didn't have like wokeness as a thing, right? Or like kind of a class reality check. There's a specific word for it, but I'm forgetting it. And if I do figure it out, I might say it in the next video. Actually, I don't check these videos at all, so if I remember, I remember. If I don't, class recognition maybe? I don't know. But yeah, Jake and Bill and their whole posse of people, they're all traveling together, and it finally starts getting good around it finally starts getting good when they go to Spain. And right now I'm in the part where there's a bunch of fiesta going on, and there's a bullfighter, and it's very dramatic. Again, I'm probably forking the mic to pick it up, and I hope you guys can hear me. Maybe editing me is gonna have a hard time with this. Hopefully not. I know it was very echoey in my room when I recorded, so I unplugged that external mic. We'll see where it goes. Speaking of the equipment I'm using, all rented from the school library, or the annex technically, right? There's a tripod, a camera, an external mic in the back that I haven't plugged in anymore, and I want to see how that works. I know that I don't have the like equipment for like proper recording setup right now. This is what I'm using. If I wasn't using this, I would be using my phone and my laptop, and that's what I did for my channel intro. That's me on the topic of books. That's just kind of what I'm gonna say. Just past experiences, what's going on with my life right now, what's going to go on in my life very soon, in the very near future. I think I did a pretty good job just coming out here. That was the biggest challenge, just showing up. I was delaying it. I still have to prep lunch and dinner and more lunch and more dinner for like tomorrow and the day after. And just like this week after making this video, and I won't be editing maybe until later tonight. Who knows? I might go and call with my friends. But yeah, this is about the end. I'm gonna show you guys the skyline first, and then call it off. Have a good, lovely rest of your night, day, whatever time of day it is. This is Vedant Yesti signing out. Bye bye.